Hello, the game has started. It's my opponent to go first. I've got a promising looking rack. It's balanced, no duplicates. But is there a bingo here? I have the able ending and the un beginning. Wow, this looks super close. I suspect there will be some 8-letter bingos. Oh, wow. Great start for opponent. So, a few floaters to consider. Do I have anything with an O? No. U. No. T. I've just noticed I have a 7. I have albumen. That plays in row I. Great, I do have a bingo. Let me go back to finding the best one. Albumen plus a T. No L. No A. I. That could be a double-double. There'll be a big difference between a double-double and a row I bingo. But I'm not seeing one. D. I don't think unblamed is good. Okay, so is there anywhere else for albumen apart from row I? This could be a significantly suboptimal move if there's a bingo through one of these floaters. Should I spend longer looking? No, I'm going with this. Well, unbalanced, only one vowel. But there are floating vowels, so let me consider them. What about an A? No, I. No. So I can sort the rack out with mule or mew. This rack certainly has the potential for maturing into a bingo with E, S and T. Surely opponent's going to play in column 1. Now there's also a floating U. Okay, 36 points, that could have been worse. Un and OE. Nope. Okay, so not seeing a bingo here. Where can I play to get rid of the M and the W, and in particular the W? EW is good. Can't get that to play sensibly. Well, I have mule here for 20. Do I have a double-double in column 11? No. Is there a way of hanging on to the E? I don't think so. So let me get this down. Mule for 20. And still a vowel shortage. But let me briefly consider the vowels on the board in case I have a bingo through one of them. Nothing with the A or the I. I do have a scoring tile in the H, and I do want to split up the duplicate N. H can go next to C, so I've got Na in column 2. But holding on to 4 constants is a lot more risky than holding on to 3. So, back to column 11. Do I have a double-double? I have tarnish, but that's 1 square short. No. Oh well, looks like opponent has the vowels. But they've also provided a nice spot. Wow, I was just noticing that NTH preserves the A, and this rack leave goes well with the floating I. This is 18 points. An alternative to this would be Hant for 24. Lan for 26. Setting up quite a hot spot in column 8. Interesting. I do trail by 30. Just revisiting this A in case there's a bingo here. This rack isn't a million miles away from one. And is there anywhere else for NTH? I'm quite attracted to NTH because it provides a lot less than the fan. The score difference of 8 points isn't vast, and I think this rack leave is significantly better than the one after than, particularly given the floating I in outlaid. I'm going with this. Great, that looks pretty bingo-y. But do I have one? I think Saronic is good. That plays in row C and also row J. I think it's good. But let me consider the floaters, in particular the I. Do I have a double-double? Okay, well that's been massively restricted. Saronic in row C still plays. It doesn't play in row J, and it never played in row K. I have a new spot for it in column 13. Getting doubles, but opening a triple-triple lane. Mule takes an S, so if I had a play ending ST in column 8, that would be pretty good. Raincoats through the right pair of floaters. So this rack plus a T. Very high probability. I'm surprised there isn't one. Cortinas. Okay, that doesn't play. Does Cortinas have an anagram? I think it does, but it's not coming to mind. Well, let me play this. I've got a horrible feeling or a slight feeling that Saronic isn't good. And it is. Fantastic. And I draw the Q with the U, which is good. Quell, not good, but Squirrel is. No available S's. Opponent probably takes out row O, but will struggle to place a high-scoring tile on the double letter square. So unless they have a bingo, that should go for a fairly lowly score. I lead by 40. But what am I going to do with this rack? It's good to see the Q with the U. But I'm not seeing many options. I have Quare through the A. That's quite nice. Also Quail. Oh no, I thought I had Quail in row N, but I don't have the I. What about row O? I have an I for an IC ending. Not seeing a way of playing the Q in that row. I think Quare takes an S, still 3 S's and a blank to come. So Quare and Quail are both dangerous and score less than 30 points. What about the A of outlaid? Do I have a... Well, yes, I have Quail and Quare through that A. That's nice. That's over 30 points. Doesn't provide anything. Great. So opponent plays a lowly score in row O, and then I get Quare down and a massively improved rack, possibly including a blank or an S. any other spots for the... Oh, an opponent does not follow the rules. Plays Fablings for 66. Not the rules, but the plan as outlined. Gosh, I really thought they would be tempted by this C. And there goes the second blank. Opponent having both. And a trail by 29. Opponent does provide an S, but it's not available for square. Opponent's players blocked both spots for quail. F and A would work for fakir if they were in slightly different spots. Onto an L, I would have quill. Gosh, what am I going to do? I feel I do need to play the Q. But all of my spots have been taken. 13 minutes on my clock. Yeah, my opponent's just blocked all the A's on the board, which is the tile that was most useful for this rack. So, the QU is positive. Is there a way of sorting out the rest of the rack in row O? Don't think so. Nothing with the O. I've got Quinn, but I don't want to keep double R, double I. Super hot X spot provided by opponent. Anything onto this S? Surely I have something better than changing here. Gosh, if I only had an N, I would have Quinic. That would be nice. I have Souk. I have, oh, an opponent's blocked Liquor as well. Liquor. So that's Fabling's just been brutal for this rack. But there's still going to be a best play. But what is it? PI is good. It's really the lack of any plays available with the tiles on my rack, which is proving problematic. And no E, so very few tiles to go after QU. Should I change? 10 minutes on my clock. I've spent a long time on this play and I have come up with absolutely nothing. What about Mule? Well, I don't want to burn the U and keep the Q. I'm changing. I'm only 30 points behind. And I'll keep QUIR. Great, I have an E. I had half an I on row N for getting the Q tripled. I have query on my rack. I don't think I have a play in row N. 32 for opponent, so I'm 60 behind. Do I have anything in row O? Don't think so. I've got key, Q-U-E-Y, in column 13, which will be decent. Nine minutes on my clock, 31 tiles to come. Not seeing anything with the C. I like the idea of getting rid of the Y with the Q. Not seeing anywhere for query. So, key here for 41 points. It's decent, but I'm offering a lot back with this Q next to a double word square with 5 eyes to come. However, if opponent plays in column 14, they'll be opening column 15 and leaving row O alone. And this is pretty decent rack. And it's an open board, which I want since I trail. Yeah, I burnt through a lot of time. I'm going with this. And I draw an X. But this X spot has been obstructed by opponent's play of Novi, so it's only available once. Wow, pretty grim rack overall. Can't get the X tripled underneath the L of albumin. If I had a T, I would have fix it. Well, there's lots of vowels next to, 3 vowels next to triple letter squares, and I can't get the X to be tripled twice with any of them. Interesting, opponent 21 points, doesn't have an I. So I can do this for 36 points, which is decent. Retaining the X. Distracting opponent at the top to possibly play. Well, they can't play AN. There's no N's left. £36 points. This is going to be quite good. It's going to bring me fairly close to opponent and retain the X for score. Is FIR good with a double R? I think this may not be, but let's find out. No. So, is this the play? 7 minutes on my clock. Who just provided nothing great for me. The score is decent. I'm going with this. Wow. Let me count the remaining vowels. 12 out of 27, so there are vowels available. I'm not going to be bingoing with this rack. I trail by 5. FY is good for 24. But I would like to offload the X. I've got Biddy down from the B. XU is good. But I can't get that to play twice. I don't have any X plays through the C. Is good. But nothing reaches the triple word square. Ape and Ope are both good, so column 11 is quite hot. Great, opponent has to burn the S with just 33 points. 6 minutes on my clock, 18 tiles to come. No S's, no blanks. Just 2 E's. So, what to do? Play biddy and hold the X back for score. Turn over tiles with a view to drawing some vowels which are useful in the end game. Only 24 points, but it's a pretty junky rack. Yeah, this looks pretty balanced. I'm surely going to score with this. Wow, I could be missing stuff here. 5 minutes on my clock. Biddy for 24. Such a lowly score. And my Y could go next to N. I would get the same score for cry, but that would keep double D. D doesn't go well with X. Okay, I'm going with biddy. Pretty nice. I don't think extollers is valid with one L. 41 points for opponent, so I trail by 50. I pretty much do need a big X play. Well, I've got Cox in row O, which leaves a pretty good 10 tiles left. This rack leave, well, it's foul dry, but there's this floating O in Novi and floating E in Uja. And 36 points is decent. I'm really going to be hampered if I draw some of these R's. So can I get close to that score? Is there any X play, 5-letter X play beginning with X? 4 minutes on my clock. Don't think so. Just looking for ways to get the X to play twice. I've got Ox and KO, but those are the same tiles as Cox. I have Locks down here, 35 points, turning over one more tile, and I think that's worth doing. I've noticed the 3 R's, but look, 4 I's and an I would go very well with this rack. I'm down to 3 minutes. Locks doesn't really hamper the E or the O. And this rack leave is better than Cox, and it's only 1 fewer point. I'm going with this. Oh, and I miss all of the I's. What a shame, and only draw consonants. And I trail by 20. Let me consider these vowels. Oh, do I have anything with an E? Don't think so. What about an O? No. I've got the W for score. And opponent takes that Z spot, but if I hadn't played Locks, they could have put the Z where the L is for a similar score, so that's just really a trade. I'd like to hang on to my 5 tiles left. I think I need a bingo to win. I'd like to hang on to my E. I'd like to play off W and R. And I'd really like to just maximise the rack leave, which I can do with draw. 2 minutes on my clock. But the demerit of draw is I'm blocking this O. And I'm wholly reliant on this E. So can I play off DRW somewhere else? Can't see a play through this O. W and R are the priorities. The D is less so. 2 minutes on my clock. I want to play off R and W. No, I'm going with this. I'm going to rely on opponent not blocking this E or not blocking it well enough. And there's still this floating N. I'm going with draw. Well, I still dodge the I's. Now, do I have anything with this E? Oh, wow. Do I have opponents emptied the bag? Anything with the N? Anything with the E? Poster, a reposter. Pre-store. Pre-store! Unbelievable. Pre-store. I have pre-store. Pre-store for 83. Bang! Oh, my word. That nearly eluded me. Good grief. And the final score. 405 for opponent, 455 for me. A winning margin of 50 points, so a huge, huge win. Let's see what I missed. Oh, my word. I was going through the motions at the end there. I really didn't think there was a bingo with that E. And there was. So, it was opponent to go first. Fabulous rack. And they had a choice of bingos and went with outlaid. And I have albumin. Unblamed is good. Wow. And that was the only other bingo. But unblamed would have been 8 more points and a less dangerous vowel in the triple lane. So, nice 7 random tiles. And opponent plays Cantini, so a missed bingo. Enunciate, F7. 9 letter play through UN, very difficult to spot, but it was there. Now, my rack, oh, and I miss umwelt, one of my favourite words, for 22 points, totally sorts the rack out. And I also missed unmew, I think. Yeah, so I went with mule for 20, keeping NST. NST better than LST, so unmew, not a miss. And umwelt, well, very little difference, but it's just a nice fancy word. Opponent plays KV, Lao guy, that's fun. And I have this rack. So, I play NTH, not on this list, but NTH leaves Rans as a rack leave, and all of these plays do not retain the A, so that was the sacrifice I was making. I wanted to maximise my bingo prospects for the following turn. Opponent plays Pagoda, and it's paid off. Oh wow, I didn't consider the 7s. All of them, all I saw was Saronic, but there's Aircons, definitely, and one other. Let's have a look. Racino's a racing casino. And Racino's A13 plays parallel to Pagoda. Wow. So I placed Saronic for 73, but Racino's would have been better. Opponent with the second blank. Fantastic spot of Fablings, which caused me all sorts of trouble. 14 minutes on my clock. I think I burnt 4 minutes looking for a play here. And although when these results come up, you look at the plays and the scores, I'm also drawn immediately to the rack leaves, and they're horrendous. And if you look at these rack leaves and you then look at the scores are pretty pitiful given the rack leaves. So D8, QI. Yeah, I like changing. QU has positive value of about 8 points, I think. So yeah, I'm happy with changing. opponent's rack, pretty grim, plays Novi. Now, wow, and key for 41 was best. I'm surprised. Opponent's rack, no eye to take advantage of the Q. Plays Yuja. I do have an eye, so I play Fur, and there's only 4 fewer points than Z. However, I prefer Fur because this rack leave has more potential. And Z keeps duplicate R, and as soon as you're into duplicate letter territory, you need to make a 5-point adjustment for the score, so I think Fur is definitely better. Opponent plays ES, and now I trail by 40. There are 18 tiles in the bag, and this was a tricky rack. I didn't like Biddy. Oh, L12. Doxy through the O, sticking a Y in column 15. That would have been the play, because this rack leave goes super well with the E. An opponent would definitely be distracted by column 15, so that was a miss. I didn't feel like I was playing great in this game, and Biddy definitely a suboptimal play, but it's very difficult to actually draw a reliable inference from feeling that you're playing badly and actually playing badly. So, for example, the key play I felt was pretty suboptimal, but it turned out to be the best play. But Biddy was not. Now, opponent's rack. They played Took. I trail by 50. Definitely time to burn the X. And I think Lux is the play. But I only get 35. K7. Oh, Locks, Zoo, and O's. Yeah. 2 very different types of play. Locks inhibits row O, so, and the scores aren't that far apart, so I'm not sure those moves are massively different. Missed bingo. Opponent has Triazine through this N. Wow. Plays Kaz instead, and I thought my goose was cooked. I was really looking forward to drawing one of these 4 eyes, and I whiffed on all of them. I have an unbalanced rack. I have, with only 1 vowel, I have the duplicate tiles, and I have the W. The only way I could see of addressing all the problems and maximising my chances of a bingo was a draw, which took out one of the best floaters. But I still think that's best. J14. Wed. Well, the rack leave, I'm going to have to be super lucky to bingo with a rack leave of RRST, given the pool. So I like my play. This is opponent's rack. They play Exit. And now, wow, let's just pause for a moment and look at this magnificent rack, because there is a floating E, and pre-store is the only available bingo. So grateful to see that bingos. You're so often in this position and there isn't a final move bingo, and it's something you really, really want and need to win. But on this occasion, there it was, and it played, and the opponent didn't block it. So delighted to get pre-store down. That's what I needed to go into the lead, and I got a ton on count back, I think, because of the J and the H, and ran out a 50-point winner. So super exciting stuff. Plenty of fantastic racks to consider, and as usual, quite a few suboptimal plays from which to learn. But many thanks to opponent for a great battle. I hope you enjoyed watching that game. Like, comment and subscribe, and I will see you next time.